Hi, I'm Chris from Final Checkpoint.
And I'm Dave.
And tonight we're going to be talking about our top 6 fantasy weapons we wish we had. Want to expand on that a little bit, Dave?
Well, we thought this would be a good one because we got Star Wars coming out. The Force Awakens. But either way, the Light Saber is pretty much the weapon that all nerds can pretty much agree they want.
Yep.
And we're no different, but that's a good opening topic. But let's go on about some other lesser known weapons.
Shall I begin?
You can begin, yes.
Okay. The first one I chose was the plasma cutter from Dead Space. And for a couple reasons. Number one, it can rotate, so you get 2 different angles you can shoot with. You can go vertical or horizontal depending on the job. And it's a good multi-tool. So not only are you trying to sever limbs with it, but you can also use it to, say, cut steel girders for your home project, for instance.
What kind of home project involves steel girders?
My home project, okay?
Alright.
But the plasma cutter would be number one, not number one, but my first choice, I would say, for my top 3. What's yours?
For number 2, recent game Bloodborne is just a plethora of weapons. Just, you got swords, axes,
Hammers.
There's new DLC coming out in just a couple weeks that has like weird buzzsaw things. But either way, my favorite weapon from that game would be the threaded cane. It's probably the one that every blog recommends you don't use, as it is probably the weakest of the starting weapons. But if you just look at the thing, it just oozes class. It's threatening, it has range, it has speed.
Not much of a cane, though. If it's threaded, it might just collapse on you when you're walking.
It has cane form. It works. You can walk on it.
Okay. Shall I move along?
Sure.
Okay. Next up on my list is the Dagger of Time from the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Because why wouldn't you want to be able to go back in time and also stab someone? I mean, think about it. You can control the sands, right? I don't know why you'd want to control sand, but you can move through time. You can rewind time.
You could go back in time and stop them from casting Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's very true. You could stop them from casting Jake Gyllenhaal.
Next on my list, we have a memory from the 80s. Probably one movie that I watched repeatedly as a child was Krull. And why not? It's one of the only movies from the 80s that still holds up. At least to me. But in that one, if you've seen it, you've got the glaive. It's the coolest throwable weapon out there. I mean, pretty much you could throw it, you could probably slash at someone without throwing it.
Would it get stuck in people, though?
It's magic, so no. But either way, you can control it with your mind. That's pretty awesome.
Okay, I'll give you that. Alright, so final one on my list is the mini nuke from Fallout 4, or just the Fallout series in general, but more recently Fallout 4. Because why not? Who wouldn't want to carry around a giant bazooka that you can load a mini nuke into and just annihilate your enemies? But really, if you don't want to, spend all that hard-earned money on a demolition crew for your house, just load up a mini nuke that you found in some lunchbox around the corner and fire it at the house, and boom, case closed.
Why are there mini nukes in lunchboxes around the corner?
There's all kinds of things in lunchboxes in the wasteland. You'd be surprised what you might find.
All right. Well, last on the list is it's the thinking man's weapon, really, or kind of the laziest man's weapon, which I'm going to go with the Death Note from Death Note, which, for those of you who are not familiar with the anime series, it's basically just a notebook, a little composition notebook that simply write a name in it, write how you want the person to die, and they die. That's pretty much it.
The Death Note's cool, Dave, but I don't know if it's really a weapon per se. I mean, here we are talking about fantasy weapons, and there's a reason they call them weapons, because they're usually used for, mass destruction, death on a grand scale, bludgeoning, blood and guts, that sort of thing. I mean, all the mine are pretty much straightforward. And the Death Note's a notebook at the end of the day, with some pretentious kid using it to play God, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it's not really a weapon, it's just a stupid thing. I mean, why would you save that for last?
Good night, everybody!